Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
What I wanted to say to you about, we at the break spitballed influences and voices. What I wanted to say to you, that's more of a top-down situation. The bottom-up situation is therapists and the school of thought on standing up to anybody with socio or psychopathic tendency is not to poke the bear.
Yes.
And I'm here to poke the bear. And also say that those folks are redeemable should they choose to look at themselves.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Matter of fact, my lawyers sent me I got the letter yesterday. My lawyers for the class action, even though I'm opting out, they quit. I got the paperwork in the mail yesterday. Just so you know. Yeah.
So
but I don't want to give them guys no more energy. But yeah, they quit.
So they quit because a stronger power stepped into influence. Fair?
Well, I went into court and I requested they step down. I requested to fire them 3 times, but I couldn't get lawyers to come in and take this case over. And then when Shapiro agreed to do it, somebody scared him off really quick within 24 hours of him coming aboard. They scared him off. And I don't know who did it. I don't know. Was it a bribe? Was it a scare? I don't know. I just have no idea. I only know what I know. But yeah, so.
Hey, not for nothing, and it sounds strange, but OJ, CTE?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's people called me one time, asked me to play him in the movie, just to be, so it's a funny story, but I'll tell you that later.
All right. This is a stretch, but it is tied to us recapping all that you brought to me. Remember when you mentioned, and I hate the fucking word remember, I don't mean to use it, but you mentioned how your brain had a little thing going on when it came to your interaction with Prince Albert?
Yes.
I had, and I've talked about it here, I had an experience with a catfisher, where I knew it was absolute bullshit, but I couldn't resist because my brain was having that 2-pronged effect, having been gaslit all my life and having the brain injury that I have, where I used it as an opportunity to figure out why I was interested in what the catfisher was throwing down versus knowing it was absolute and complete bullshit. And,
gotcha.
And that is something that was my life, trying to discern between people that were supposed to love and support me who didn't, and always being this woman that stood up. And in the environments where standing up made a difference, whether it be in finance or in business, in the environments where standing up got me slaughtered in my personal life.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that because the brain's a funny thing. What else do I want to say to you? I think that I think what you're doing is amazing. And I think that the umbrella of brain injuries tied to both physical and, emotional brain injury, Lanius and Corrigan just proved it is a physical injury to the brain.
Yeah.
And that's going to really change a lot. And some people think that's a real slippery slope, which is why I think people, they're not ready for that level of change and possibility. And it just depends on how your bread gets buttered.
Yeah.
But I do think the more I do think changing humanity is possible. I'm not an idealist. I'm a realist, but I do think it's possible. And I
changing it right before our eyes.
Well, yeah, and we didn't talk about increased consciousness and your spirituality, or how you view what you're able to see beyond the simulation you and I are both trying to conquer. But I have to believe that do you have any weigh-in on your spirituality or your increased consciousness as a result of these experiences, which, I mean, I see the sadness and the despair, but I also see the magnificent. I can't fucking talk. I should just stop.
Okay. No, you're fine. You're good. No worries.
Right? I mean, your soul, do you believe your soul contracted for this journey? Or is that too...
You know what? I had that conversation with myself this morning before you called me. And it's like if you look at my medical records, my doctors, my medical records said ESP in it. I have some doctors who evaluated me one time, and I got sick. I had AFib and went to the hospital, and they asked me questions, and I was being evasive because I didn't want to give them the truth, because I don't want a 5150. You're not going to hold me on a 72-hour hold because I'm crazy. I know what that is. I'm being evasive.
I was writing about it when one was slapped on me, but go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And so these doctors asking me questions. So my resting heart rate is 48, was 48 then, and it will jump to 180. And when it happens, you immediately black out. But the weird thing is you're conscious before you hit the ground. And so this is the weirdest thing. And so what happened to me? And so I went to the hospital, ER. There's 3 doctors. There's 2 ER doctors. There's a heart specialist. There's the ER doctor. And then there's the head RN at Lincoln Memorial Hospital in Phoenix. And they're asking me questions. And I'm being evasive. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm a doc. I'm going to give you all the answers you need to diagnose me crazy. And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, I've been having these visions since I was a teenager. And if I see it, it's going to happen. And he said, you have deja vu? He said, yeah. He wrote it in his chart. He said, out-of-body experience? And I said, yeah. And it happens a lot. And I'm having a hard time getting in my body. And it's just destroying me. Sometimes I'm afraid to sleep because of that. I don't know what this is. And these spirits are showing up now. And I'm passing messages. And I don't know what the hell this stuff is. And I've been telling people since, 1996 about this ground that they're exhuming. It was before the internet. And I told them they were exhuming bodies in this place. As the spirit came and told me and was mad. And so I'm telling people all these things that are weird, And so he's writing stuff in the chart. And I said, Doc, I know what you're thinking and you're not right. And he said, what am I thinking? I said, you think I have seizures? I've never had a seizure. And he looked at his paper. The other doctor looked at his paper and said, yeah, that's what I wrote. And that's what I'm thinking. But we're still going to check you for that. And I said, well, I appreciate that, But, so that was that. So the 2 doctors leave the room. The ER nurse comes back. She says, Mr. Person, she said, I believe you. She said, when my mom died, she came back and she was trying to explain this light to me, which means her mom was eliminated. But what she explained, it almost sounded like it was 2 lights. I was like, oh, you saw a second light? Because that means you're about to leave. But, that's what I'm thinking. And she said, I said, oh, okay. She said, well, what does that mean? I said, oh, it was your mom letting you know she was fine. And she just started bawling. She was like, yeah, I know. She said, we were fighting and I wasn't there for her when she died. And she's telling me this story. She said, they're going to move you upstairs. And when they move you upstairs, I'm going with you. I'm your personal nurse until you leave here. Mm. And I said, I'll be fine. You don't have to do that. And she's like, I'm the head nurse here. I can do what I want to do. And she did it. She said she was my personal nurse when they moved me upstairs. So A couple days later, she comes into the room. She says, Mr. Person, I've never seen it written this way. They believe you. And I was like, okay, she's warning me. And so the doctors came in later, it was one of them, and they asked me, they said, they told me, they said, somebody from the government would like to speak to you. And I said, you know what? Am I protected by HIPAA? And they said, yes. I said, well, let's keep it that way. And then they never bothered me again. That was the end of that. So now, fast forward, years later, my teammates are hallucinating. They're dying. They're struggling. I'm thinking maybe I was having some hallucinations from the sport. So I had my current lawyers pull my medical records. And right in the bottom of it, there's a comment about ESP. It doesn't mention our conversations, but it says ESP on there. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a place I don't supposed to really be here. I see the world differently than most. Like when I was 23 and I was working in those facilities, I had these doctors, they would come through to evaluate all these. We had the people like, if you saw somebody doing something bizarre on the streets and the police snatched them up, they brought them to us to be evaluated. So we had 3 different units. The first unit was the really rough people. And then as they got better, they moved to the middle unit. And as they were, real compliant, everything was good, they put them in the last, we call it the C unit at the San Joaquin County Mental Health Department. And so these doctors would come through and they would come with their little clipboards and lab coats and they're taking notes, talking to each patient every morning, the same thing. Then they come to us and give us a breakdown of who has what and what they're going to do, med changes. And a couple of times, like the doctor saying things. And after the meeting was over, I said, hey, doc, I know you said this. Remember, I'm 23 years old. I said, doc, I know you said this, but I saw this. And they said, you did? And he said, oh, he'll go back and talk to that patient. And he'll come back, he'll change the notes, change the meds, change the order. And he says, son, you have what we call a tuning fork. And I don't know what that meant. I thought I knew what they were doing and what was going on with them by the way they move. That's how I see it. I know how you move. And there was another, like when I was hired to be a mentor for the Native American tribe, Pima Indians, where I had a client. The first client I had, he was 8 years old. He was one of 5 kids, and all the kids spoke. I think they were fetal alcohol syndrome kids, because they all spoke yabba 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 yabba. That's how they talked. That was their words. And so when my first client, my boss wanted me to meet the family, the father was in stage 4 of cancer. And so when I went to see this kid, I told my boss, I said, hey, this kid can talk. He said, that's why we hired you. But that's some wishful thinking. But he's in the 8th grade. I mean, he's 8 years old. He's in the 2nd grade. Even his teachers would have known if he can talk by now. So I got that kid in March. And by July, this kid wouldn't stop talking, right? I was working with him. And so I said, well, maybe his family knows he can talk. So I said, his name was Alden. I can't say his last name because it's illegal, but his name was Alden. I said, Alden, do you ever tell your mom you love her? And he says, no. I said, what you tell her you love her sometime? So as I was dropping him off, the parent always came out. It was always the mom, because dad's in stage 4. So the kid comes over. He runs past his mom. Hey, mom, I'm home. I love you. And the tears that came out of that lady's face, I was like, oh, she didn't know. She said, my baby, how did you? So now they're looking at me. Now, remember, the father didn't like me because I'm there to replace him, right? So he never would talk to me. And so one day I dropped this kid off. The mom's not there, so the father had to come to the door to sign him. And I said, oh, you're better. And I always say, if looks can kill, I would have dropped dead on the spot. He was so angry. He's pointing to his lymph nodes in his throat. I could smell cancer on people sometimes. I could see it. I could sometimes smell it. And so I was like, no, you're better. And he was so angry. He said, no, it's my lymph nodes. He's so angry. And I had a clinical meeting 2 weeks later with my boss and our family support person. Her name was Carrie. And so as soon as the meeting started, Carrie started talking. And I said, Carrie, if you're sick, you should have stayed home. She said, I'm not sick. And then I said the weirdest thing. I said, denial is the best medicine. And we all just cracked up laughing. And so we go all of my clients, and they said, okay, how is Alden's father? I said, I think he's better. And they said, no, Will, we wouldn't be in his life if his father was better. I said, well, I think he's better. I think he's getting better. And they looking at me like I'm crazy. And so After that meeting, I had to go pick Alden up, and I took him bowling up in Maricopa County. And when I came back home, the father, for the first time ever, was sitting outside waiting on me. He said he went to the doctor that day, and his cancer was gone. He said, "What did you do?" And I said, "Well, I didn't do anything." And so here go a man who would never talk to me. So now every time I dropped that kid off, I had to spend an hour extra just talking to him. And so after that happened that night, I called my family support person, Carrie. I said, "Carrie," I said, "today I told you this man was better, right?" And she says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, he just told me today he's in remission." And she said, "Oh, well, by the way, thank you. I have strep throat. I won't be at work for the rest of the week." And so, when I told her earlier that she was sick, she stayed home. She had strep throat, so I am that person. But the truth is, I don't know I'm that person. I'm in a place that I don't quite fit in here because I see things different than most people see them. And I think that's why God picked me to do this journey. I just hate I had to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much to do it.
I'm sorry, honey. What?
Yeah, I just hate that I have to go through so much to do it. I'm different. I know I'm different. I've always been different. I just never knew why. But the truth is, when a lot of stuff was happening, I didn't know if this was from the concussion or if this was just me. So some things are me and some things are from the concussion. I had to determine which is which and fix. So that's how I didn't only came out of this thing because of my patterns. I see patterns now. I know what I see. I know how to decipher things a little bit better, and so that's my story. And I don't tell that story almost never. Yeah. But there's many people around the world who, I've saved so many lives. I tell people, like I told one grady, I said, I saw her legs. I said, "Yeah, you need to go get a checkup." And she said, "No, I just had a checkup." I said, "Well, you should go get another one. Go get it." She didn't listen to me. And eventually I get a text. It said, "I almost died. Why didn't you tell me?" Well, I said, "Well, first of all, I'm not a doctor, and I did tell you." And I have 1,000 of those stories. Most people don't listen until they have a problem, real problem. And then they come back and they're like, "Okay, here I am." But trust me, I'll give you 5 more hours of just this kind of testimonial. And people here too can verify that stuff. But this is, I'm different. I don't know why, but this is what I am.
What's your energy read where I'm concerned?
Oh, I'm sorry, say it again.
What is your energy read where I am concerned?
Well, you have great energy. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk to you. I would not have done an interview, number one. And so some things, like when I hear things like when your speech pattern, I knew what that was. I didn't know if you knew what that was. So I had to tell you. But I had to tell you without saying, "Hey, you got a problem." I said, but I did have the same thing as well. Mine wasn't as pronounced as yours. At least maybe it was, but maybe I just don't know, because I was, like I said, at one point I laid on my floor begging for death every day, just asking God to come get me because it's just my time. Yeah.
I have never wanted to die. I've wanted to shut my brain off. But I have had people box me in as wanting to take my life as a way to control me. So there's that. I think the level of power and control that you were alluding to earlier exists in smaller capacities within families and systems. So when you were describing out-of-body experience, you may have been describing sleep paralysis. I don't know. I've never had it.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's what they call it, but that's not what I could physically go places and verify. Matter of fact, I have a picture. One place I went, like when it first started, I had it all my life. Like for many years of my younger life, like I had these dreams. I was flying, so I thought it was just dreams.
Right.
Until this one time, like I was like, wait a minute, I'm flying. Why am I flying so much longer now? I said, and why am I talking to myself while I'm doing it? Hey, I'm conscious. I said, wait a minute. If this is what I think it is, I should control where I go. And only address I could think of was the house I grew up as a child. And as I thought of that place, I said, okay, take me to Bermuda Court. Next thing you know, I'm descending over this golf course behind my house. And I'm descending over, it's this tree right behind my house. This thing is now shaped like a heart for some reason. It was at somebody else's yard, a tree I would have never paid attention to. And then as I passed that house, I descended too quick and I fell on this gate. And when I hit the ground, I woke up. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And so weeks later, I went home. I haven't been home in years. I went over to that street and I took a picture. That doggone tree was there and it's shaped like a heart, the same tree. And so when that thing happens, you control where you go. And so I usually think it was, first of all, I didn't know what sleep paralysis was until I was getting stuck out of my body. And some lady told me, oh, she said, that's astral projection. And so when I looked that up, and then I'm now looking at sleep paralysis and all those things that they said is. So now I'm trying to find community in that stuff because.
Have you been turned on to Darius J. Wright?
I don't know who that is.
Please, if it resonates, look him up.
Jay Wright?
Darius J. Wright, Wright.
Maybe you can text that to me later because I will not retain that.
I will.
I used to have a mind like a steel trap. Now I just can't. I don't retain.
I get it. Please, please, I get it.
I know you know. Yeah.
I judge myself. I think I've had, because I have a very strong intuition and conscious experience. They haven't crossed over to out-of-body experiences, but I've rubbed up against out-of-body and near-death experiences because they're very similar.
Yes.
I'm still trying to unravel what my experience was when I had my 5-day dissociative episode that ended in a rage event, because I have to imagine there was some contemplation of not coming back. And I don't mean in a suicide way, if you know what I mean. What I had tolerated to have that rage event, which was very warranted and necessary, I can't imagine how my brain my soul made the decision to come back into my body and then survive being institutionalized against my will.
Yeah. Did they medicate you?
They insisted.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
Because my personality was outside the medication, and I'm not bipolar. No disrespect to those who are, because that's still trauma-based. Just like I think most antisocial, sociopathy, psychopathy are trauma-based. You're not. You made a comment. Hold on, let me see. You talked about, and this is a stretch, but I think it's pertinent. You were talking about people who take lives of others being tied to shootings where veterans are concerned, mental health issues, or radicalized. I think, and I hesitate to stay here, that there's a neurodivergent component, there's a attention deficit component, which I align with dissociation. It's just, we're just beginning to understand what a dissociative brain is capable of. And let me just leave it at that and try to come back to the spiritual aspect. I definitely think my trauma has led to my increased consciousness and spirituality. How can it not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I had foundationally a lot of this stuff going on when I was a kid. I wouldn't say I was having out-of-body experiences, but I will tell you, I remember being a kid and, oh shit, did we just lose him? You there, Will?
No, I'm here.
All right. I can remember being a kid and being in scenarios or visualizing something and knowing what somebody else would be up against as a result of that situation. My insight was miraculous for being a little kid.
Yeah.
And then that's why I firmly feel I was a target for abuse. Because who wants the voice of reason? Thank you. Who wants the truth teller? Who wants the whistleblower?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Will, you're my new best friend. What I'm thinking of doing, and I'm gonna, I haven't talked to my producers here yet, but I'm thinking of doing, I'm not going to not podcast, but I'm thinking of doing less of it so I can focus on myself and write. And I have a book that I'm writing called Laugh So I Don't Die. I want to get.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. And you know, it's what I tolerated. I mean, it is comical because I was taught to tolerate. I was taught to endure. I was indoctrinated. I don't blame myself by any means, but at some point, in order for other people to see their own behavior, I've got to point out what I was doing. So that's the goal of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe what I tolerated. I still can't believe what I tolerated.
I'm sure I would. The truth is, if I actually, this is the weird part. If I, any place I've ever worked, I started as a tech, and I'll leave as the director. You know, and the truth is, like, I see things in people that I'm not, that they don't share. Put it that way.
Right.
And so, like, for example, I went to go do a movie one time. So I was working at the Slate County Youth Center, and we had a new kid coming in to be evaluated. And when I looked at him, you know, I'm the lowest man on the, I'm the totem pole guy. I'm the lowest person there. I'm the tech. And so, matter of fact, as a tech, I wrote the training program for youth corrections, Slate prison for kids. I wanted to write in the training manual. They asked me to do it. I did it as a tech. And so I see things differently than you guys do. Well, something I was about to tell you, and I forgot exactly where I was going with that. But, yeah. And so I was greatly to do this movie. And so I told my boss, I said, we saw this new kid. And so when we're doing the meeting, I said, hey guys, this kid's, I just saw him. Be careful. He's going to do this, 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 and this. And when he does that, just do this, 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 and that. And so I leave. I go do a movie called Any Given Sunday. So I'm gone for a few weeks. And I call back in to check in. And my friend Mike Garner answered the phone. He said, hey, man, how'd you do that? I said, do what? He said, you told us this kid was going to do A, B, C, D, and E. And that kid did A, B, C, D, and E. And when I told my boss told me, when I first told him what was going on, he said, you're just judging him. I was like, no, I'm not judging him. But still, I'm not aware that I'm doing something different that everyone else is doing. I thought everybody does this.
Right.
Knows these things.
That right.
That is what it is. Yes. And so, yeah.
I am hoping that Laugh So I Don't Die helps me find someone who can help me write a screenplay called Surrounded by Assassins. That's a black comedy. Now, I already know what I want that to be, based slightly on a true story, because I have all these discussions with people and experiences. But the premise is a psychologist deals with 4 patients, at least the movie will reveal 4 patients, that have various brain injuries. And the manifestation of each person's, how each injury plays out in those people. You with me?
Yes.
But it's going to be a comedy. And I know,
gotcha.
And I know how to integrate the black comedy. What I'm ignorant about, I need help with to squeeze the learning curve, because I don't anticipate taking a ton of time and writing it, if that makes sense, because of how well I synthesize. My issue is when I address stuff such as this, I have to not dissociate from it, because that is just a part of me.
There's a book. There's a book that'll help you called, I think it's called Save the Cat or Kill the Cat. I don't know which one it was. It helps you to break down. So what you're going to have to do is put that in linear screenplay format. It's really just telling you, and the simple thing of that is, it tells you the first 30 pages, you introduce your character. Now, and you got to introduce them all up to that point. Don't break until you finish introducing them. Don't do it. Don't.
I want to hire the left. I want to hire the left brain component.
Oh, so somebody that's writing for you?
I want to collaborate with the right person, because I am not going to grow a left hemisphere.
Oh, gotcha.
Unless
somebody once told me, if you don't write it yourself, you're going to be disappointed later. So don't cheat yourself with the process.
I'm not concerned about that, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm not concerned about that.
What I mean is, you won't like the outcome if someone else writes it. It won't come out with you.
We'll see.
You got to be a part of that.
We'll see.
You just keep your hands in there, and you be right there with it when they're writing it. You just keep
yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. But
somebody told me that years ago, and I was so angry, and they were right. But it's the truth. Yeah.
Well, I have so many. The way that I see it is, if 1% of the ideas that I've had creatively find themselves on their way to others, the ripple effect is enough. I'm not in a position to. I think collaboration will make me a stronger writer, especially when it comes to the possibility of film.
Yes.
And I put hang up in quotes. And what did I mean? Did you say something relative to a hang up? Oh, I know what I meant by that. Where are we, Tim?
We're at 32:07.
All right. We've got to. I just wanted to tell you what my hang up is, and folks who listen to my podcast, I've mentioned it 37 times, but it's my sons. My relationship with my sons is not estranged, but it's low contact as a result of the decisions I've made. We're a family, my ex, my hospitalization, my healing is concerned. It's put them in a position to see all those other people and say, what's wrong with my mother? You're with me?
Yes.
So that is the thing. It is my thing that keeps me from going out of body. It is the thing that keeps me plagued by my concern and love towards them, and not wanting to make their soul's journey any more difficult.
Yes.
So just know that's my, I was going to say G-spot, but I mean Achilles heel.
I mean, if you do it right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe I need more G-spot. Never mind. Anyway, so this, I can't tell you. I just can't tell you what I hope this does. And I hope we stay in one another's lives. The alignment I feel, especially because of this conversation. I mean, I thought the last conversation we had in private was good. This eclipses that.
Well, you were my last podcast. I've shut it down, and I told my publicist no more. And I saved this spot for you, just so you know. I just wanted you to know that.
Oh, how many did you do?
And I don't know. She had me busy for the first few months, and it's just so much, and I just couldn't do anymore. And I got to start knocking on doors, and which I've been doing. And now the military's blessed us. We're moving forward with the physical part of building and saving lives. And
Well,
yeah,
I hope you enjoyed it.
absolutely.
I
And I knew I would. I knew I would. That's why I told my publicist, no disrespect to you. I said, this is going to be my most challenging one that I've done. And I said, but I'm going to do it. And then we're going to shut it down. And so
why most challenging?
Because we had our conversation earlier. I know things. I just know things.
You mean challenging in a good way?
Challenging. Challenging is challenging.
Okay, I'll take it. I like it.
Challenging.
My nipples are hard. I like it.
It's not a bad thing. But
that's why I said my nipples are hard. You didn't offend me.
Yeah. Mine too. So how about that? So, yeah. No, I knew what this was. I knew exactly who you are. We spoke, and I try not to say too much because then you'd be like, this guy's just a know-it-all, and it's not that at all. But
no.
Certain things I know and certain things I don't know. And when I know what I know, I know what I know. And,
I feel the same way, and I'm not trying to be right, and you're not trying to be right. I just want to know what your fucking opinion is, right?
Yeah. And most of this stuff that I'm telling you, I wish that I was wrong. I wish I was batshit crazy and was totally wrong. But I'm not.
No, I know. Yeah. Did you find me or did the publicist find me?
My publicist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're one of a few people that reached out your publicist that reached out to me direct, but her or his follow through was just exceptional. I've had a handful of people reach out, but similar to yourself, I'm going to start to do less podcasting because I have to now revisit the book, get the book out, and quite frankly, do more for myself. I'm going to start doing a lot of water treatment, sauna, swim, hot tub, and get my cortisol levels down and worry about what this podcast has, quite frankly, hyped up.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, water is my fountain of youth. That's why I'm my strongest at it. Like if I'm in a shower, that's why the house that I bought when I was dying, it's on a lake. I knew I had to get to the water, and matter of fact, when I go back there, I have so much peace. And matter of fact, when we get up and moving, I'm gonna hopefully you can maybe come out and visit. And you even have a nice big giant bald eagle who just soars and comes down and grabs a fish. And sometimes he sits on my dock, and sometimes he's back up in the trees. But it's so serene and it's peaceful.
Yeah. Those my synchronicities, my experiences are second to none, and I know I'm headed in the right. I don't know, whatever the hell I'm doing. Hey, thank you. Much love. We're in touch.
Yes.
I will send you Darius, his name, in a text, and just more to come. And if you can weigh in on CTE when I write that screenplay, I'm going to want your review on all of it. We can even base that patient loosely on you.
Sure. I wrote a screenplay. I got greenlit 2 weeks before COVID, and then Hollywood shut down. And but actually, that character is kind of those things that we were speaking about in this last little session, and it's hidden in there. It's like it's my life experience, how this started, and but you can't tell that it's you can't tell what it really is until you get to the end with the twist in the movie. But yeah, I pitched that thing, and it was, matter of fact, the people dropped the phone when I told them the twist, and they were like, "Oh my God, like what?" But like I said, COVID happened, and then after that, that's when my symptoms kicked in. I couldn't read anymore. I stopped. I didn't want to pitch anymore. I just was tucked in and preparing for death. But hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to get that screenplay back up and start pitching it and raising the money to shoot it. And that's Actually, I don't know if I told you, my producing partner for the show that I wrote for the military, he actually owns the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise. He's a really good guy. So hopefully I'll get the.
Hey, I know a great financial advisor.
Yeah.
You know
That's
that.
what I need right there.
Hey, that's what I do, man. I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm an independent advisor. Have been for 30 years, and
I had no idea.
well, see, yeah, I don't talk about it a lot. I try to separate it from this creative outlet, but I love finance. Finance has, I think, in pictures, patterns, and numbers, and all that I've been
Yeah.
through has made me a better advisor.
So, but you take people who have money and you have them invest it?
Yep, I do. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but yes. No, don't edit it out. Tim's like, I'll take it out. No, don't. That's what I do. So yeah, I mean, privately, hit me up, and I did not let it be known I didn't fully solicit you. Just dropped a hint.
Well, I solicited you. Once you dropped that hint, like, hey, no, but yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, that's
I'm
awesome.
hoping to. I mean, I'm hoping to work with people who have had these kinds of experiences. So I definitely am not for everybody where that's concerned, and certainly the intention is to be in reality about where we are.
Oh, absolutely.
So let me just leave it at that. You catch my drift.
Well, yeah, if you ever meet people who want to invest in movies, let me know.
Well,
Anything like that. It'd be a blessing.
I'm going to be in the same boat. So, and we can talk about that. I have a strategy. We'll see.
Oh, cool.
We'll see. Whether it works or not, remains to be seen, but I can't thank you enough. I have so enjoyed meeting you. If you think of anybody else that I should be talking to on the podcast, not in finance. Finance,
the best person,
email me. Go ahead.
If you need help with that, you should hire my publicist, man. She is like she swamped me so much. She got me so much of anything I needed. It was just matter of fact, while we were on the phone, she just texted me that somebody from Britain wants to interview me about my Kanye West prediction that I put out months ago. Now that thing came out, they're finding her for that, and so I don't really want to talk about it anymore. But the thing is, in the article he spoke about, he still thinks he's bipolar, and that means he's not doing the proper treatment, which means he's going to suffer again. And so I want to try to catch this guy. So I got to help get the information out to catch him before he sinks. I don't want to see him do that again. But if he was actually doing the right things, I would let it go and just move on. I wouldn't even discuss it in the media anymore. But I put it in the media because he needed to find that answer. And the truth is, in the interview, in the article, you'll see it. He said he found about it on Reddit. Well, it had to be me because nobody else in the world has made this prediction and put it out there. And so hopefully we can catch him and save him.
Bipolar is the biggest misdiagnosis for autistics, especially in women. And bipolar is hugely misdiagnosed when it's a PTSD root. So no disrespect to those. And bipolar is something that if you align with it and the shoe fits, the individual gets to decide. Having another person decide that for you, just
And the crazy part is, if I'm right, he'll be okay. Either in 1 day or 30 days, we'll know for sure. It's that quick with hyperbarics.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that in conjunction with the other deep brain reorienting, and I would do the iobane in the right situation. But I have psychedelic experiences on cannabis, so I'm a little more concerned about iobane. But I have resolved myself, as I'm sure you have, is I'm not going to get rid of PTSD, but I can thrive with it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's just the sustaining joy is the root for me. Because when I go down, I'm sure like you, I go down. But then it's like the weather, and it's like, okay. And it's not like a bipolar depression mania thing. It's just as a result of decades of psychological crap. How can I not?
But I'm very interested to see if what helps me also helps you on that other side, because I'm not alone, guys. There's thousands of people doing this now. I am not alone doing this.
No,
but I've never heard anybody with the York, and this is your anomaly to me. And so when you do it, I have to hear back from you.
Well, I'm going to be writing. I've put it off, but I'm going to be writing to Lanius, and then there's somebody else who found me, who has coordinated worldwide DBR. I think I've gotten to the root of who that person is, and I would be open to doing DBR on the podcast. Not Iobane.
Yeah. Can I give you a little bit of advice? And I don't mean it to change or route anything.
Yeah, shoot. Yes, of course.
Okay. One thing that happened to me, one of my situations, it's such a long story, but I won't get into it. I thought God wanted me to do this one last thing, because once I figured out what this was with me, with the visions and the spirit, I said, okay, all these things that needed to be done just showed up at once. I've been searching for it. And the minute that I didn't know what this was, these visions and these, so I'm driving my car one night. I'm just like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm driving my car. I had a Porsche 911 then. And so I'm going 150, 60, 70 miles an hour. And I didn't want to hurt anyone else. I just wanted to roll it or hit a bridge or whatever I can. That's when I wanted out of here. And so I was like, God, why do these spirits keep coming to me? And for the first time, people had told me I was a medium, and I didn't believe them. I always said to myself, I said, you think I'm a medium? You're actually the crazy one. I'm not. You think I'm crazy? You crazy. I'm not the crazy one. And so once I was taking it, so I'm driving, I'm speeding, and I was like, just God, I don't want to kill anybody else, but I got to get the hell out of this place, And so I said, God, why do these spirits keep coming to me? And he said, first of all, stupid, slow the car down. He said, you're a medium. They come to you because they can. And I went, oh, is that it? And then all this trauma I had for so many years of not understanding who I was and what it was just instantaneously. And he gave me something he needed me to do. And everything they needed me to do all happened within like minutes. It all just lined up. Like it was brewing for a while, but I didn't know what it was I was looking at. The visions, the premonitions, it all came to a head. And as soon as, and I said, okay, I know what he wants me to do. And once I do it, it's going to be gone. And then I could be free of this damn thing.
It's not the way it works.
As I was doing, but as I did everything that he wanted me to do, I got to the point where I had one more last thing to do. And I was at the place to get it done for him. And I got so sad. I was like, wait a minute. This is who I've been for most of my life. If I do it, it's going to change me. And so what I don't want you to do is to be afraid to do these things, because it's going to change who you are. It's not going to change who you are. It's just going to make you better at who you are. And so don't feel like if you go through these therapies and treatments and stuff, it's going to change your projection on life. It's not. And don't be afraid to do it, because it's going to make you better and it's going to change. No. And that's my message to you. And I'm sorry for doing that.
No. Can I add you to my soul family, which is very small?
Absolutely. My thing is, you are bigger than, your disorder. You're bigger than, all of this. And so I'm just saying, don't think like I'm going to do this and I'm not going to be me anymore. No, you're going to still be you. You're going to be better you.
I'm remembering. Magdalene is my guide. I'm remembering who I am and what I was. I'm remembering. My soul is remembering. My hang up is my sons. But I went to a very, in my opinion, I don't know if you're familiar, I've mentioned it before, Santo Spinacci. Do you know that name?
No.
All right, doesn't matter. He's an astrotheologist. His views on sexual alchemy, probably, I don't know. So I went to him, and I'm not into astrology, but historically, astrology and astronomy were pretty equal. So I sent him my chart, and he just said the battle with my sons is not in my chart. So it means, and battle's a big word, but it means it's this time around. He saw the history. He saw the history of my family problems, my romantic problems. He said, but unequivocally, what's happening with my sons this time around. So I know my soul contracted for it. And I know my freedom is tied to relinquishing and allowing their souls the freedom of whatever they contracted for. I feel they wanted me as their mother, right?
Yeah.
So we shall see. And my
I always hear those stories, and I don't know the truth, but I listen to you, and I accept it for your truth. I don't know.
Well, it has salvaged, because in therapy, I hear so many therapists when it comes to estrangement and problems with mothers in particular with children. Fathers have long tolerated what women are now more up against than ever. It's not unusual for a father to be estranged. It's much more unusual in recent years for a woman to be estranged. And
yeah,
so whatever. But I just have said, because of my history with brain injury, I've said to my current therapist, who's a dissociation expert. She's not somebody I talk to her to. We're not doing cognitive therapy. It's more like me running by things that are trailblazing. They're not things people can actually advise me on. But ultimately, a lot of therapists like the light of hope. And I said, no, I've had to relinquish hope because it reminds me of addiction. And I have faith, but I can't think about that. And I know, and I know that it's they're I already said it. They're my Achilles heel. I almost said G-spot again. I think we're.
By the way, what's a G-spot? What is a G-spot? I don't understand what you keep referring to as a G-spot.
Are you serious? You busted my balls.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I had to give that to you. I'm sorry.
I had a person in my life that became a man, and they used skin from a certain part of his body to create his penis.
Yeah.
And there was a part of him that really wanted to show people his penis, and his partner was like, no. And I said, I don't want to see your penis. I want to know what the fuck happened to your G-spot.
Oh, wow. What happened to it?
Oh, Will. I don't know.
Is it? See, don't tell me. I'm going to research it myself. But now my algorithm on my phone is going to be messed up. Thanks a lot. But I'm going to find out.
Oh, boy. So there. We end with a joke. And you didn't even remotely have me convinced you didn't know what that was. So try harder. No pun intended. Well,
no worries.
I'll be in touch.
That's one of my old stupid dad jokes. Okay. Absolutely.
I won't be in touch in some ways, but I'll be in touch in others.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good evening.
All right. You do the same. Right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
And what's your name again? What's the editor's name again?
Tim.
Tim.
Ted?
Tim.
Like the teddy bear?
No, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Oh,
Tim.
Jesus.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, it was a
All right.
pleasure.
Thank
Did you have a good time?
Pleasure too, bro.
Absolutely.
Would you rather do this than anything else?
Well, we talked about G-spots, so
I set you up for that, Tim. Play along.
All right, well,
Tim's gonna be home Googling that too. So just so you know.
clearly, it has to move to the ass, right?
That's what I
You're
figured.
like, oh, they give you a prostate, then.
oh, please. Being in finance, I know entirely too much about the male prostate. But anyway, my clients tell
You
me.
guys have a good one.
All right. Be well.
Okay.
Ciao.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.